Saigon Sam here, September 14, 2009. Hey, it occurred to me that there's a few things that you really got to know to live here, and I figured I should just summarize them all in a video. Now, this is apart from the food, water, and air issues that are generally discussed in the other videos. First of all, don't bring any drugs into here, not even marijuana. Just don't. And your best, if you're really lucky, you're going to end up having to pay a lot of money to somebody to get out of trouble, and you might end up dead. So just don't do it. A lot of guys come here to hook up with women, and by that I mean have good sex in the hotels. And you got to realize this isn't Thailand. The culture and the laws here are a little bit different. In particular, I've heard that every once in a while, and I don't know how often that is, the cops will raid the hotels and they'll go door to door and check out who's in what room and what they're doing. And if you're having sex, particularly I guess with a hooker, you're in big trouble. And well, I would imagine the chances are pretty low of you going to jail. You're probably looking at having to pay off some big bucks in order to get out of trouble. I heard from one guy that it's technically illegal for a foreigner to have sex with Vietnamese. Now, this is hard to believe, but I guess it's possible. So, at any rate, it is theoretically illegal to have sex of any kind here, although I can guarantee you it happens among locals and foreigners. But I would really suggest that you stay away from the prostitutional scene because, you know, in addition to HIV and various other risks, you know, there's also a lot of thievery and really dirty business that goes on there, gang activity and whatnot. And the fact of the matter is, you don't really need to risk it that much. There's a whole bunch of nice women that you can meet online. You can date them and take it slow, and you know, even if you're not a marriage freak, most of them will be more than willing to talk to you, and you know, you can see where things go. There's a bunch of websites for that. Viet Single is probably the best one. I've tried to summarize these in the YouTube summary, if I remember what I'm doing. There's Vietnam Cupid and Saigon Darlings, to name a few of the bigger sites. A lot of women of all kinds of walks of life from this area and others throughout Vietnam that you can meet on those sites. And I would really suggest that that's where you start. And I would also say that one of the nicest ways for guys to meet ladies here is just quite frankly to walk around, particularly in District 1, in the streets, in the parks. You just meet women hanging around doing whatever they're doing. Maybe they're shopkeepers, maybe they're also shopping, maybe they're just going for a walk, and you know, you smile and you say hello. Even if they don't speak English, they're probably going to understand that. Probably half of them will just give you this kind of blank, kind of rude look, and it's, well, whatever, you know, just move on, smile at somebody else. Okay, so moving on. Oh yeah, where to live? Look, let me give you some advice. I've been all over this town, and if you're looking for what we'd consider a basic Western type of lifestyle, live in Phu My Hung. You don't have to live in one of the places I showed you, but live somewhere in Phu My Hung. This is where it's at. You can spend more money elsewhere and get a more luxurious condo, but right outside your front door is going to be crazy mayhem and pollution. And this is the best place. I really think so. Oh yeah, word to ladies: don't wear necklaces. Guys too, don't wear necklaces here. A couple times a year in a few parts of the city, there are what we call hell rider incidents where people will come by on motorbikes and they will grab the jewelry off your neck, and hopefully your neck won't come with it. And there's some pretty nasty fatalities that have happened, as you can imagine, as a result of this kind of theft. So save yourself, leave the necklace at home. The other thing you need to realize is about electricity here. The electricity, as far as I can tell, is uniformly two-prong as opposed to three-prong, where this one is a ground. So the first thing that obviously means is essentially nothing is grounded. And even touching the electrical case of your computer might give you a shock. Or I've been shocked even from USB cables, because ultimately the machine it plugs into isn't grounded. And critically, this also goes for the electric water heaters in the shower. People have literally been killed because the electric water heaters in the showers are not grounded. So most definitely when you're taking a shower, be a paranoid nut and keep looking at the water heater and make sure you don't touch any part of it. And certainly don't turn it on or off when your hands are wet. Okay, oh, yeah, drinking water, I mentioned, no matter what, and I'm going to say it again because it needs repeating, drink Aquafina and nothing else unless you're going to die of thirst. And if you're going to die of thirst, drink bottled water at least. I don't eat at the restaurants except for the Sheraton Hotel and the Caravelle and maybe the Intercontinental and maybe the Sofitel, but I can't recommend the last two because I haven't tried them. Oh, yeah, when you're trying to get an apartment, like anywhere else, you're going to have to make a deposit, and it's typically 2 months. But see if you can get that down to 1 month or even nothing, and even if you have to, offer to raise the rent a little bit in order to avoid the deposit. Because let's face it, I mean, if they know that you need to leave, do you really think you're going to get your money back? I mean, you might, and in theory you should, but why risk it? You might as well pay 10 bucks a month more and try to minimize that deposit up front. Police visits. Every, I don't know, 3-6 months here, depending on where you live, the police will literally knock on your front door and just ask if you're the only one living there and who else is living there and so on. And, you know, deal with it. I mean, it's their country, they're trying to police who's here. There's nothing much to say about that except don't freak out. They're not trying to arrest you, they just want to get this information. So give them what they need. What else can I tell you? Yeah, most definitely, if you're looking at public transport options, I would highly recommend the bus or the taxi. And as a matter of fact, in Phumiang, there's a bus that I think goes through pretty much the whole area that can take you to District 1 for 60 cents and back, which is a lot better than a taxi at like 4 bucks for the same distance. So save yourself some money. Oh, bank accounts. People have asked me about bank accounts. So there's a whole bunch of banks you can choose from here. One of the most convenient, particularly if you're interested in keeping a foreign currency account, such as you know, a Hong Kong dollar account or US dollar account, you should go and talk to the folks at ANZ. You can go to anz.com, and this is Australia New Zealand Bank, but they've got a whole bunch of branches in the region. That's what I would recommend. When you're finding a place, absolutely critical. Ask about internet. If the internet isn't installed, don't assume that it's trivial to do so, although it usually is, you just don't know. This is actually a big deal because if you don't have internet, you kind of can't survive here in a lot of ways. And you can go to coffee shops and use the Wi-Fi, but that's kind of a pain in the butt. You know, and there are some internet shops around for short-term stays. You can certainly do that. And in fact, most of the hotels have an internet terminal in their lobby, which you can use. But if you're going to live here, figure that out first. I guess that's all I can think of for really critical advice, so best of luck.